The South Australian Aboriginal Chronic Disease Consortium has been established to reduce the impact of chronic disease experienced by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people living in South Australia. This is being done by providing support for the implementation of 3 important health plans which focus on heart disease and stroke, cancer and diabetes.
Aboriginal people continue to experience poorer health outcomes than our mainstream counterparts across Australia and in particularly in South Australia. So we need to have a concerted effort around improving Aboriginal health outcomes.
What we know is the life expectancy differentials are enormous. About 80% of that gap is driven by chronic diseases.
When you look at the impact of these chronic diseases separately, for each of them, Aboriginal people experience a higher level of burden at much younger ages in comparison to non-Aboriginal people. The reality is that many Aboriginal people suffer one or more of these conditions together, and the question is what systems, what services, what mechanisms, and what way of delivering services can we provide for people experiencing these conditions?
We were tasked by the SA government to focus on what the plans needed to be for heart disease moving forward, for diabetes moving forward, and for cancer control moving forward for Aboriginal communities in South Australia.
To have those plans connected up is really, really important to how we actually see the health and wellbeing of Aboriginal people going forward. To treat them in separation or to treat the symptom or the disease on its own separate to those other issues would just create further gaps.
The Consortium has a roadmap for action which is coordinating and sustaining the implementation of each of the 3 plans. In doing so, we're working towards reducing the impacts of diabetes, heart disease and strokes, and cancer amongst Aboriginal people in South Australia.
Even this program in this place means a lot to me because it's looking after me, it's looking after my grandchildren, it's looking after my children, my wife, everyone. Looking after all of the Aboriginal people that I know.
Strong partnerships are vital to ensuring these long-term health plans come together to target priorities identified in the roadmap for action. And now that we have such broad and all-encompassing partnerships in place, the strategies and goals identified in each of the 3 chronic disease plans are more achievable than ever.
The partnerships provide great opportunity to start looking at gaps in services, but also how we might actually deliver those services.
Through the Aboriginal Chronic Disease Consortium, we now have the ability to coordinate and unite previously separated efforts, support action groups in key priority areas, and have a more complete overview of multiple stakeholder activities and efforts. Together, we're creating stronger partnerships, reducing duplication, testing new models and ways of providing care, and ultimately improving the health outcomes for Aboriginal people.
Partnership is everything here. And it's not just about partnership between service providers. The question is how well do we bring community along with us in this journey, and how well are we reflecting what communities really need?
I think the more times that people sit down together and discuss what your health issues are and listen to each other. It's what it's all about.
The opportunity that the consortium offers is a true and genuine partnership not only with service providers and key stakeholders and funding bodies, it also creates the place and space safely for community to help design and deliver on these services.
The community reference group are the real bosses of this agenda. So if we've got an idea that we want to progress, if it doesn't pass the sniff test of where the Aboriginal community is, it won't progress.
You've got Aboriginal people running this thing. You've got Aboriginal people doing the stuff that only non-Aboriginal people done before. But now, you've got them young people, you've got young Aboriginal women here, young Aboriginal men doing all this work. Aboriginal time is good because you sit down and you make sure that you make the right decision. You make sure that all the stuff that you do is right.
I just thoroughly enjoy coming to meetings here and just discussing our health.
Importantly, through the integrated monitoring and reporting framework that's being established, we'll be able to measure the success of our strategies to help improve them. With proper coordination and evaluation, we can start to reduce the physical, social, emotional, and cultural impacts that chronic diseases are having on our Aboriginal communities.
We have to be constantly aware of what we need to deliver. We need to be constantly aware of how that's tracking. We need to be constantly accountable to the things that we say we'll do and the how we'll go about doing them. And we need to hold to account all parts of the system that say they have a responsibility for improving Aboriginal health.
If we're to make a difference, then Aboriginal health needs to be everyone's business. Together, we can be healthier.
It's everybody's problem, not only Aboriginal people.
That if we're going to bring change, it's got to be what the community's asked us to do, and that we need to have all the players around the table to deliver it.
You see all this happening and you're listening to a lot of the stuff, it lifts my spirit, it lifts my energy.